Welcome, Mr. Gaurav. Thank you so much for joining this interview. Let me just introduce you to our audience, and then we will take on the agenda that we've discussed for today. All right?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so that's Mr. Gaurav Narang, the founder of CityGreens, and he's a pioneer agri-tech. He's from a pioneer agri-tech company. Proudly announces the participation in the AgriNext Conference as a keynote speaker in Dubai on 13th and 14th of November. He is a dynamic leader driven by a profound commitment by creating positive impact and has a forefront of innovation in healthcare and also in environment sustainability. So I welcome you, Mr. Gaurav, with the whole heart here in the interview. What we will be doing is because you're joining us as one of our speakers, so we want our audience to know about the company, to know about you. So we'll straight away dive into the agenda from here on. The first question that I need to ask you straight away here from here on, can you please explain about yourself in a detailed manner and also about City Green so that our audience can have insight about you and your company.
Sure, I will do that. First of all, thanks a lot, Farid. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
So, Farid, if you want to know about me, the first thing I will say is I am a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I had a startup. I did my first startup, which was into healthcare domain. We ran it close to 9 years, and then India's largest home healthcare company, that is
Mm-hmm.
Go Medical, acquired it.
Mm-hmm.
And after being in the healthcare segment for 9 years, and after dealing with a lot of patients who were suffering from chronic segment diseases, we sort of established a link between the kind of food we are eating, the pesticides or the chemicals that go into the food, and the onset of these diseases,
Yeah.
especially in the urban areas where you see the prevalence is very, very high.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a sort of a wake-up call, and we decided that for our next startup, uh, let's move to agriculture. From where we were helping patients once they were reaching in the hospital, let's change the shift to make sure a healthy human doesn't become a patient. He eats healthy and he doesn't turn into a patient, and he doesn't have the need to go to a hospital.
Yeah.
That was the whole idea. And we decided we'll get into healthy food. And when we were looking at different technologies to grow healthy food, we also realized that farmers are these days facing a lot of difficulty due to the climate change. The
Mm-hmm.
global warming, the unseasonal climatic patterns leads a lot of or creates a lot of difficulties for farmers when they are growing in the open field.
Yeah.
This also results in variation in prices. So you will see when there is an untimely rain, the prices of normal household vegetables will go up very, very fast.
Yeah.
And we looked at these two problems together and we said, is there a solution that exists to solve these problems? And that was the first time we came across and the entire science of controlled environment agriculture. Uh, for laymen, anything that we are doing in a controlled environment, anything that we are growing in a poly house or let's say a greenhouse or let's say in a room or let's say large vertical indoor farms, that's a big basket of the controlled environment agriculture.
Yeah.
And we decided this is something where we can get into. Uh, to be honest, none of us three co-founders were from agriculture background.
Yeah.
But we knew there is a problem. We knew this problem can be solved through engineering, great determination, and hard work. And we knew that this is something that we could do. So in 2017, we started CityGreens with a basic question: can we grow healthy food at a price which people can afford at a very large scale? That was a very, very basic question we had set for ourselves in 2017. And fast forward 7 years, we are India's leading and most awarded startup in our domain. We have scale. We have got multiple patents. We already have 5 patents granted to us. There is one more in pipeline. And now we are also expanding globally. From India, we have set up our UAE office last year. And this year, we are setting up the UK office and the US office. So
Yeah.
that's long and short of where we have reached and where we are. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's enough to start the context.
Yeah, I think so, and it's our pleasure to have you as one of our speakers. And I think the kind of work that you're doing, because see, when people start their business, or they think about business, they usually don't go for something that will, they usually go for own profit. They do not think, oh, we should produce something which is reasonable to everybody. And I think the idea that you have, that can we produce that, those kind of food products that we usually get in higher prices when the demand is higher. So you want to produce it in the minimum prices, in the prices that everybody can afford. I think that says a lot about you and your company. And on that good note, let's start this interview. Let us know more about you and your company. Now I will direct the second question, just to tell you know, just to like let you know, this is Sarita from AgriNext. This is the Zoom ID I'm using, so that's
Sorry,
one
sorry,
thing.
Sarita.
No problem, no problem. No worries. So people usually assume this ID as Farid's ID, but yeah, we are using this Zoom ID for interviews, so I had to log in from this ID itself. Moving on to next question. Could you since you've told us about your company, and you started off and you told me it's like a cut short 7 years journey, but
Like,
I know it's not that small journey. So give us a brief overview of your company. I already know the core mission, but again, how did you put up with the core mission? What kind of challenges did you face? What was the history of the company? Like how was it done?
so Sarita, if you understand our journey, you'll have to first understand the concept that we were a group of novices or people with zero background in agriculture and trying to do something innovative. And also for us, if you ask me 7 years back, had we thought we will reach where we are today, the answer would be no. That's not what we thought about. What we did was we just took one problem at a time and we tried to solve that. And this will become more clear as I run you through the journey. The second part was we were very conscious that since agriculture is going to be a long drawn game, it's not something like your typical run of the mill VC investment or VC darlings where you put money and you get multiples in 2 or 3 years. Agriculture takes time.
Yeah,
So we had to be very prudent with the kind of money that we were putting in, how we were developing, and we had to pay our salaries. So we wanted to be someone who was earning revenue and possibly making profit from day one. That was the whole vision.
yeah,
We started, the very first thing we did was we tried to hang on to the low hanging fruits. We realized that there are many people who would want to grow food at their home, and they did not have good kind of support or equipments to do that. So we started with, we created some hydroponic kits. We manufactured our own nutrients because we found that the nutrients which were to be imported from abroad at that point in time, I'm talking about 7 years back, they were extremely costly. And
yeah,
we realized that using our education, using our experience, we can manufacture the same nutrients at 20% of the cost probably. So we started targeting hobby segment, and the biggest differentiator for us was the customer service. See, anyone can buy a big machine,
yeah,
but with that machine, you will need that support. So there were many players who were selling a lot of hydroponic kits and equipments, but customer support was something which was really lacking. So that was the key thing we looked at, how to make sure that anyone who is using our product, they are able to use it, and if they are facing any problem, they have someone to who will hear them, who will listen them out, who will understand their issues.
yeah,
So we started doing that, and meanwhile this was a very wonderful thing because we were servicing, or we were selling our products through Amazon. Again, we wanted to be very lean. We did not want to add people, we did not want to add a lot of infrastructure, so we looked at whatever we can use from outside. So we started with Amazon, and with
mm-hmm.
that we're selling our products in 100 plus cities in India. Now we were getting feedback from 100 plus different cities, different ethnic groups, different users on how they are using the product, what is they are liking in the food, what is that they are not liking, and their combined challenges that they were facing. With that,
Yeah,
a lot of learning started coming in. This was year 2017 when we started. In year 2018, we set up a research farm. We also realized that most of the time you would have heard that there is no need to reinvent the wheel. That's a
yeah,
traditional wisdom given to anyone.
yeah,
But in this case, we realized that the wheel we had was a tractor wheel, which is a very large wheel, and we were
yeah,
running bicycles.
Yeah.
So there was a need to reinvent the wheel, because when it comes to agriculture, everyone only looks at either Israel or some of the European countries, and they have monopoly in the terms of pricing what they do. And when we looked at what they were doing, we said, no, it's not rocket science. It can be done. We can basically replicate it. So we decided we'll reinvent the wheel. We decided to get into R&D. We set up our R&D farm, and we were lucky enough to get support from Government of India. Government of India and Government of Gujarat, they gave us some grant money and land to set up an R&D farm. From 2018 till 2020, for 3 years, we just focused on R&D of how to make a small kit and learn from them and transform that learning into a large scale operation, so that we can reach out to large scale farmers. So that now we are not talking about a 2 square foot kit, but a 2 acre or a 2.5 acre, 100,000 square meter farms, which can be run using technology. So we did that for 3 years. We developed those technologies. And in 2020 is when we started setting up commercial farms for the farmers who wanted to use these technologies. And that is when we faced another roadblock. We found some very good initial customers. We gave them the technology. They started using it. But the problem, any problem that you are facing when you are doing a very small, let's say a 2 square foot unit versus a problem that you are facing when you're doing the same thing in 200,000 square feet. The dimensions are very, very different, right? And yes, we can train people who are using kits at home with few calls, but a farmer who is invested a lot of money, unless they get right kind of labor or right kind of trained resources to run the farm, they were facing difficulties. And that is when we realized that even after setting up the farm, unless we solve for the problem of labor, and unless we solve for the problem of lack of knowledge, it will again be a challenge for the farmers. So that is when in 2020, we decided to get into really technology and develop technology range for automating these farms.
Yeah.
So 2020 onwards, we starting our automation range. We were able to develop very good products. We got multiple patents. We got multiple more awards from different governments, including financial grant awards, including multiple national and international awards. 2023, around a year back, we launched
Yeah.
our commercial technology range. And that is where we reached the final stage of our journey, where we are. Even after giving the technology range, we realized that these farmers still need some help with selling the produce. So now you have given them the technology, you have given them how to grow the produce, but still the produce you are growing, it's cheaper than what it was much earlier, but it's still a
Yeah.
little cost.
Yeah.
And this farmer, he's not a marketeer. He doesn't know how to sell, where to sell.
Yeah.
And we, by virtue of what we had done earlier, by virtue of being in the industry, by virtue of being pioneers in India, we had our chances and we had our network with market where we can help the farmers to sell.
Yeah.
So if you look at our model today, we come to the farmer, we help him set up the farm, we give him the technology using which he can grow the produce. And once he produce, we buy it back, and then we sell the produce in the channel in the market using our channel. So for a
Oh.
farmer, become a one-stop solution.
Mm-hmm.
And as a business model, we are able to ensure that lakhs and millions of people are able to grow good and healthy produce, which is
Yeah.
grown not directly by us, but by the farmers who are associated with us using technology that we have developed. So
Yeah.
if you look at the journey, what started as someone who is just selling kits and nutrients,
Yeah.
grown to a very, very different level today. And this is not something we had thought out of when we started.
Yeah, they say these kind of founders, or I would say these kind of people who invent these things, they usually call this journey very easy, or they just say it yeah, it was a long walk, but again, the walk and the barriers. I just had a question when you were telling me about the investment. A lot of people out there, a lot of young minds out there, they do think of setting up their own startup. They do think of setting up their own career in agriculture. Again, when I talk about agriculture, there are very few people who think of it. Um, there are few people who have the idea, but there are only, I would say, 50% of those people who set up, or who are successful in setting up their startups. And the main reason that I have found out, or I have heard from people who are joining startup companies, or who are working in startup companies, the main reason that they have is investment. Where did
Mhm.
you get your first investment from? How did it start?
Sarita, I was very lucky that way, I would say.
Yeah.
Since I already had a startup which we had sold successfully, so
Yeah.
there was some small kitty.
Mm-hmm.
And we also had some background where there were people who were willing to invest us because they had seen what we had done earlier. So they were
Mhm.
willing to write the check. And in fact, the first check I wrote was when I had not even started the company. So the moment I exited my last company, I got a first check saying,
Mhm.
whatever you want to do. It was from a dear friend. He said, I want to be a part of it. I had not even thought of agriculture at that point in time.
Yeah.
So we were lucky that way. But having said that, yes, that was just an initial thing. You do need money at times.
Mhm.
Uh, we got a lot of money at timely intervals from government support. We got 8.6 million in INR, 86 lakh rupees from different government ministries, right? We
Mhm.
also raised a couple of friends and family rounds. So we have not raised an institutional round, but that is by choice because we understand once we raise an institutional round, we will have to chase vanity matrices, which are all about revenue, which we
Yeah.
get to once the product and business model is stabilized, but not till we have developed a final product, which we have reached only now, right?
Yeah.
Now, talking about you raise a very valid point that most of the startups, especially in agriculture, many people don't do it. Now,
Yeah.
I'll tell you that needs a very different mindset. Your mindset should be a long-term game. Agriculture is not something which where you can put more servers and multiply things. Like if you look at a uh, mostly very fundable business model, these are models which work on server or a technology footprint where only thing you need to do once you have the right product is to do more marketing, get more customers, and when the load increases, buy more serving power or buy more GPU power. In
Yeah.
agriculture, it's actually land on which we are growing.
Yeah.
So 1 acre to 100 acre means you have to do the same thing 100 times.
Yeah.
You can do build technology. So the gestation period is going to be long. So for people who are very impatient and who only want to do it for money, they already understand this is not the business for them,
Yeah.
right? And even if you look at the kind of businesses that get funded in agriculture, vast majority would be towards trading. So
Yeah.
people who are trading, I mean, because we were still chasing revenue matrices, but vanity matrices will change, things will change. So that's one challenge. Other thing which I find very different is if we talk about agri-tech or my last health business was in health tech, right? If you talk about other things, edu-tech, for example, most of these businesses are now not standalone verticals. So when I'm a part of many ecosystems where I help other agriculture entrepreneurs grow, for example, I sit on investment committee of AIDEA NAM. I give advisory. I'm on advisory board of many agriculture institutes. But mostly we see that most of the people who are coming into do startups are from agriculture background who have done studies in agriculture. Now, what they have studied is very traditional agriculture. And if they want to survive in today's world, they need to marry this agri with the technology. And this technology can be anything. It can be technology like we are doing. It can be technology of trading. It can even be marketing or marry the agree with marketing. You
Yeah.
cannot be only in one particular domain and then try to succeed. You need to find partners from different domains.
Mhm.
And talk about funding. Fundings are available. Seed funds, angel funds are available. If you do a POC, if you do some initial traction, if you can show that. But mostly when we fund these kind of companies, because I also do some investments as an angel, and I, like I said, was also part of the investment committee of AIDEA, where we fund agriculture investment. The
Yeah.
biggest challenge we found was that most of the investment options which were coming to us, they were very heavy on agri, and
Hmm.
that traditional and non-scalable agri. And apart from that, there was nothing. So you
Hmm.
really, how do you fund such a company? So that becomes a big challenge. I think
Yeah.
that fundamental shift in approach that is needed there.
Yeah, you were talking about investment, and you did mention about this point of product, and I just reminded back my mind. I just had a webinar this Friday with few of our speakers, and there was the speaker. She told me everybody wants just the product, but
Mhm.
from farm, from land to that product, there is a journey, and nobody wants to invest in that journey. Nobody wants to work from that journey, and that is the actual journey of agriculture. Tech is a very different thing. I agree on that. Tech is very useful in agriculture, but again, growing a seed, waiting for it to grow, and then harvesting it, and then if anything happens between that growing and harvesting period, all the hard work is gone. So I think that's the journey everybody should look in. And again, the impatient and the patient point that you mentioned, I think everybody should have that patience level if in case you're coming in agriculture. On that note, Mr. Gaurav, I also want to ask on what kind of projects are you working on right now? What are your plans for next 5 to 10 years from here on?
So, Sarita, we have always been an R&D company. So, if you look at the journey that we took, we started with something and then we innovated, we did something more, then we innovated furthermore, then we innovated
Yeah,
further. Right now,
yeah,
we are at a stage where we are already at the leading position in India. So, if you look at the Indian market, we can very comfortably sit and say, okay, right now we don't need to worry, we have the best product. But that's not the approach we are taking, because when we know there are people who are smarter than us, many of them who are well funded, who have much more money power than us, who will very easily and very quickly replicate what we are doing. So
yeah,
we always believe in innovation. What we have done is a very, very significant investment in our R&D arm. We have created India's largest privately owned R&D infrastructure for controlled environment agriculture.
yeah,
So it's a 145,000 square feet of space, which is owned by CityGreens, created by CityGreens. There are 12 different microclimates and 7 different technologies. When I'm saying technologies, growing technologies. And we can grow multiple crops, we can replicate different environments, and we can create protocols for how different crops can be grown in different kind of climates using our technology without the need for the farmer to learn the technology. So that's
yeah,
what is a very significant investment we have done very recently, and this will give some fruits over larger periods of time. Apart from that, there are two more things that we are working on right now, and these are both future driven. One thing which we see is that when we set up or give even this technology to farmers, the adoption rate is slightly low.
mm-hmm.
It's difficult for a farmer to understand the technology. So right now we are working on some AI modules to make sure that the technology works itself. If a farmer knows how to operate a washing machine, or if you can teach a farmer how to operate a washing machine, you need to press this button. If this kind of clothes are there, you need to press this button. The same thing is something that we are developing for farming. If
Mm-hmm.
you are growing tomatoes, for example, press this button and you don't need to worry about technology. Technology will take care of everything. If you want to grow lettuce, for example, press this button and all the parameters will be set. So
Yeah,
that's one thing which is where we have already reached in a very advanced level. In next 3 to 4 months, that will be out in the market. And now beyond that, the next project that we are doing is looking at nutritional density. So yes, we are growing crops, but are these crops as nutritious as they used to be years
yeah,
ago? Answer is no. So right now we are working on nutritional density of different crops, and we are also looking at traditional nutrient elements which are deficient in crops. For example, vitamin B12, for example, it's not available in vegetarian diet. It's not
yeah,
available in most of the plant-based diet. We are right now developing a protocol in which we are creating crops which have sufficient quantity of these vitamins, and we are doing this without getting into any kind of gene editing.
yeah.
So these are the things that we are right now working on in the innovation front. And as we continue moving forward, there are new things which will keep coming.
Yeah, I'm sure all the parents out, not I'm not sure around the world, but I'm sure all the parents out there in India would be happy to know that you're working on something nutritious because we do get this. Oh, today's food is not as nutritious as it was 50 years back. Coming to second point, since you've been advisor for a lot of companies and you've also closely worked with Government of India. Um, do you have some advice for our young minds who are looking to start up, who are looking to start this journey in agriculture? What are your advices and what are your points to take this journey from their side?
So I will say two things. The first one is don't get influenced by what you see on the media. See, most of these people, young people. I mean, I'm old now, but most of these young people, they get too influenced by the kind of media vibes which are created around startups. Startup is just a business. I mean, any business, it can be small or big, is good if you are doing it in the right way, right?
Yeah,
Just because some startups are getting a lot of coverage because they have received a lot of money and they are burning that money to acquire customer doesn't mean that they should be your role models. Maybe
yeah,
you might do a better business if because you are actually doing real business and not just buying customers out of money. So
yeah,
that peer pressure you have to get out of.
Mm-hmm.
You have to feel proud about what you are doing and the value you are creating. The second thing is, which I will give as an advice, is look at your team, create the right team when you're starting.
Yeah.
Don't try to get everyone who is like you. Don't really start your business with your best friend, because your best friend and you will be copy of each other.
Yeah.
Find someone who is opposite you, who brings in different qualities, who can basically do those things which you are not able to do, and
Yeah.
that will help you do more. And if needed, please take some experience. I mean, a startup journey is generally 7 year, 10 year, 11 years, right? If you're starting now, you can wait for 2 years, take experience, and then also you can start. There is no harm in waiting for that if you are not experienced enough. But if
Yeah.
you're experienced, if you have right team, go ahead, jump it, and create your path. Don't try to follow someone else's path.
Yeah, rightly said, and I absolutely agree on that, Mr. Gaurav. Um, Coming to again, directing this to again to AgriNext Watson Conference. You have joined us as a speaker. You must have some expectations from us. What are your specific things that you're hoping to gain or achieve from AgriNext Watson Conference, and what drew you to participate in here?
So for me, AgriNext conference is very important, or it has come at a very important point in our journey. Like I mentioned, we are now moving out of India also. So we are at the top position, a comfortable position in India, but we
Mhm.
are expanding to UAE, we are expanding to UK, we are expanding to USA, and the conference is happening in the UAE ecosystem.
Yeah,
We have just started venturing into. And anywhere when you are starting, you are again a startup. As respective of what we have done in India and UAE, we are a startup, right?
yeah,
So we need the network, we need to meet the people, we need to form new partnership, we need to understand the ecosystem. So I am looking at AgriNext conference as a venue where I'll get a lot of these opportunities, a lot of like-minded people will come,
hmm,
potential business partners will come, potential competitors will come from whom I will learn, who will learn from us, and
yeah.
we'll able to collaborate, work together, and create something good which will work for everyone. So that's
Yeah.
the point.
Thank you. Thank you so much for answering that. And the openness that you have, you did not see competitors as just competitors.
We
You
are
you had the
collaborators.
you had the openness of learning from them too. That says a lot about you.
No,
Um,
Sarita, it's a very fine line. A competitor can be your collaborator. I mean, I think if your
yeah.
attitude is right, you can join together and do much more than fighting out. The pie is huge, right?
Yeah,
Everyone.
and I would definitely say it's an engineer mind. What cannot it do in the world? So yeah, I would just say that. Moving on to the last round, which is basically winding up this interview that we've had. Any specific expectations from your company? You did mention about the core mission you're working on. Where do you see it in next 10 years? What are your expectations?
So we always want to be at the forefront of R&D and technology development. We have established a very good niche and brand for ourselves in India. We are the most awarded, as we were referred by Indian Express. We are the most awarded startup in our domain in India. We want to replicate the same in globally, and that's where we have chosen UAE as the center for Middle East and uh, African market. We have chosen UK very strategically as a center for European market and USA for America and Canada market. So the
Yeah.
whole idea is next 5 to 10 years, apart from Israel and your European countries, there should be one more name when people talk about technology and agriculture, and that should be City Greens. That's what
Yeah.
we are trying to achieve.
I hoping for the best for you and for the company. And on that note, Mr. Gaurav, thank you so much for giving us your time. For our audience, if somebody is trying to reach City Greens for collaboration, for networking, for some advisory, since you've seen all the works that Mr. Gaurav and City Greens has done, the website and the LinkedIn is mentioned on our website, official website of AgriNext. You will find every detail, and I'm pretty sure Mr. Gaurav is very, very friendly. He will be addressing all the queries, all the question, all the advisory, if in case you want to reach out. On the day of the event, see him and see AgriNext Watson Conference. Again, thank you so much, Mr. Gaurav, for joining this one. It was
Thanks,
pleasure
Sarita, for having
talking
me.
to you.
See you. Take care.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.